Thanks for your company. Now, a 34-year-old man, Oscar Osewusu, at Kaswa Lawyer in the Gomoa East District of the Central Region, has been stabbed to death by a military man. The incident occurred at Kaswa High Tension after 4 army officers attacked the deceased to snatch his Infinix Note 4 phone, but the victim refused to give them the phone, and during the struggle, one of the military men stabbed him to death. Maxwell Agbagba is at Kaswa and joins us with some updates. Hello, Maxwell. What have you gathered about this incident so far?
Well, Dennis, the line is too clear, but you're asking about what actually triggered this?
I'm asking what information you've gathered so far about this, Maxwell.
Okay, Bennett. So we currently here at the
Maxwell. Hello, Maxwell. Could you kindly... Hello, Maxwell. Can you kindly reposition yourself? Your line is not too clear. Hello, Maxwell. Yeah, we seem to have a struggle there with the lines. We'll try reconnecting Maxwell and bring you some details. But all we know so far is that this 34-year-old gentleman was actually attacked by some military men who asked for his phone, and his refusal to do that led to his death. Maxwell Agbagba is currently in Kaswa. He's been speaking to the police and the family of the deceased, and will bring us details shortly when we are able to raise him on the line. Well, I hear we have him on the line now. Hello, Maxwell. Right.
Yeah.
I was asking what you've gathered so far about this incident.
Well, Bennett, as it stands right now, we're currently here at the Kaswa of Fanko District Magistrate Court. Here, family members of the deceased are actually gathered here. And as it stands right now, police officers have just rushed the suspect into a vehicle here. A lot of the young people who are friends with the deceased are not too excited about what is happening because they feel that the police are trying to protect, the identity or hide the identity of the suspect. A lot of them have some red armbands around them right now. Hurling insults at, the police officers. Now, proceedings just ended here, and the case has been adjourned to the 8th of September, and the suspect has been remanded in police custody. That incident actually happened at the Kaswa High Tension between 8:30 to 9 p.m. That was last Friday on the day of Eid al-Adha. We are told that the deceased was invited by some of his colleagues, phone sellers, so he canceled the feast on sunrise that had been brought to them by a friend, all in commemoration of the Eid al-Adha festivity. Now, some eyewitnesses who were present at the scene told us the 4 soldiers accosted the deceased, who was in the company of his friends. They searched them. After the search, one of the soldiers asked for the phone of the deceased, but he refused, and that actually triggered altercation between the two, resulting in the death of Nanaya Owusu.
All right, Maxwell, you've been speaking to the family and wife of the deceased. What have they been telling you about who he was, and how are they really taking all of this?
Well, they tell me that he had a son. His son is just a 2-year-old boy, and he also has a wife. They tell me that usually, he's the type who doesn't even want to go out, because on the day that he was, killed by the military officer, we are told that he was actually at home. But the point was when his friends actually invited him to come over. So generally, what we get, and the impression that we get from family members who are gathered here, who are aggrieved here, it's more of, Nanaya who's being the fire type, who really wouldn't want to foment trouble anywhere he finds, himself. His father has actually been telling me that he got the information about his death when he was at home at Kumasi, but now he has been forced to come here to the court to witness the proceedings. And the calls that we're getting here is more of, the demand for justice, Bennett.
Maxwell, I can hear a lot of noise where you are. What exactly is happening, and what is causing this noise?
Well, a lot of the family members are hurling, insults about the police officers. They're saying that they are trying to protect the identity of the deceased. Now, what actually happened was that we were not even allowed to go inside the court. Some of the people here, some of the attendants here, did not allow us to go into the court. But now the police vehicle, a Land Cruiser vehicle, is here, taking the suspect away to custody. We hear is going to be in the Winneba prison. where he has been remanded. They are taking him there, but now they've been forced to stop because family members would not allow the police vehicle to actually move. So right now they are allowing the family members here to take pictures of the suspect who has covered his face, so you can actually see his face, so you can take pictures. A lot of them are grouped right now. Now let me just close up to a woman. What's the name? Okay, well, she's not willing to talk. A lot of them are angry right now, Dennis.
All right, Maxwell, now have you received confirmation from the Ghana Armed Forces that this man is actually a military man and the other gentlemen who probably aided in this action?
Well, I got confirmation from the Director of Public Affairs of the military, General Azefaki, this morning, and he confirmed to me, he says he will not grant an interview, but he confirmed to me that yes, a military officer was involved, and he says the military police is actually collaborating with the Kaswa police on investigation. So they're actually helping, the military police is helping the Kaswa police to investigate this particular matter. So yes, we have confirmation from the military that a soldier was actually involved in this, Dennis.
Maxwell, and finally, the wife of the deceased is actually calling on the government to come to her aid. What exactly does she want?
Well, she basically, she tells us that their son actually has a kidney problem, and Nanayo Owusu was the one actually helping with the medical costs and all of that. This is the father. But now that he's gone, we don't know how they're going to take care, of that particular child, Dennis. But right now, people are wailing, family members are wailing, sister is wailing, the aunt is also here. She's also wailing. It's all tears here at the Kaswa of Park District Magistrate Court, Dennis.
Maxwell, we'll leave it here, but we sure will bring you more on this in our subsequent bulletins. All the noise you're hearing there is of angry residents and relatives of a young man, Nana Owusu Osei, I beg your pardon, who was killed allegedly by a military man in Kaswa. Do stay with us for the updates. Away from that, they used to be in shanty towns and the city's outbacks, but increasingly more than ever, movable metal structures, commonly referred to as containers, are taking over street corners and across curbs. Now, much as they represent a nuisance to the city's facade, they are growing in popularity because they meet the needs of many residents seeking shelter and space to do business. Joy News' Komladum has been investigating the phenomenon of the multi-purpose kiosks sprouting all over Accra and why they may not be going away anytime soon.
There may be clutter, even in the finest residential neighborhoods, haphazardly sited and sometimes unregulated. In Accra's busiest enclaves, there are an avalanche of these metal enclosures, commonly referred to as containers, littered all about. For a section of the population, though these containers are lifesavers, they serve multiple purposes for office space, small shops, and even shelter for many of Accra's destitute. There is a reason. Mighty is in his late 30s. He has been occupying and working from his container for 6 years. He tells me at the time he acquired it, he was only just starting his phone repair business. We're going to be speaking to the owner of the shop who will tell us some of the advantages the container has over normal buildings. How long have you been using a container?
Like 6-7 years now.
What are some of the advantages a container has over a normal block-made shop?
Oh, okay. Sometimes the houses are expensive, but the container is your own. You spend less money, and the land is for the government. They only come for sometimes they come for permit. If you are on somebody's land, if the landowner want to take it, take the land, you only take your container and move away.
He believes advantages of owning and working from these enclosures far outweigh their demerits.
Every day if I come, I get my money. It's better than going for somebody's building. Yes, because the container is yours. Nobody will come every year for buildings money.
Mighty is not alone. We are still here trying to sample the views of some container owners here in the capital to find out what stark advantages these containers have over block stores and buildings specifically. We'll be going to this bar to speak to the bar owner to find out what she's benefited from this particular container. Let's go inside and find out. Esther Aframa has in the last 4 years been a bar owner, selling all sorts of alcoholic beverages.
Actually, you pay for the person. Maybe you pay huge money, and then as the things are moving, you pay another one. You see, at times the landlord, the shop owner will come and tell you that he wants you to move from there.
She doesn't only use this place for work. Sometimes it serves as her home as well. She tells me she wants to avoid the torture from landlords and property owners who lord it over low-income earners like herself. This structure, she explains, is her best shot at owning a property.
Even if you don't have accommodation, you can sleep inside. If they have their own container, especially for me like this, if I don't have a place to sleep, I'll just manage myself here. At times when I come late, I prefer to sleep here because nobody will come and take rent from me.
Careful unscientific survey around town shows hundreds or possibly thousands of these containers occupying frontage of homes, roadsides and the like. The influx only means one thing: fabricators are cashing in. But can you blame them? Accommodation and rent charges by landlords are crippling small business owners, and the fabricators believe they are in the business of helping them. Atumensa manages the Hands of Glory Universal Metal Works near Ashalibuche.
Container business have become part of us in our living. People do come here often asking for containers they want to do.
Okay. In the past, a month or two, how many offers have you got specifically, and when the people come, what do they tell you?
In a month, like you get 10, 5, but if you're ready and everything is set, you can go ahead.
I see that some workers are, actually fixing one of them. Can you tell us what exactly is this going to be used for? Is it an office space? Is it a shop? Is it a house for somebody?
This one is for MTN mobile money. We are doing for some ladies.
Has been fabricating these enclosures for the better part of 10 years here at Raids Junction. His family of 5 live off the proceeds of fabricating containers at the Ensunyamiye Metal Works. I can count as many as 6 containers already here, and he tells me that these containers have been pre-ordered, and so the owners are just yet to come and collect them.
Business is cool. Sometimes people can make order, they will come for it quickly. Sometimes they will delay small before they will come and pick it out.
Would you agree with those people who say that it is essentially very cheaper to obtain a container these days?
Yeah, I agree with them. It's very cheaper. You can move it anywhere you like it. Accra here, people, before you get a land, it will not take a period of time they say they are moving you. So after they are moving you, you can pick your container out.
For all these reasons that have been ascribed to the increasing demand for these metal enclosures, it makes economic sense somehow for people to choose them over the relatively more expensive sand crate shops and apartments. But there is a real danger when these units find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. During floods and clampdowns on legal structures, their owners tend to see their investments peter out just like that. For now though, Mighty and Esther will not want to bother their heads that much as long as it provides shelter and a source of livelihood.
Really interesting piece there. Away from that, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources John Peter Amewu has declared Exton Cubic Group's 3 mining leases invalid. The minister at a news conference Monday stated the company failed to obtain some permits and committed some statutory infractions. Now, this is contrary to the minister's earlier position that the company has all the necessary documentation enabling them to mine. Joe News' Raymond Akwa is on the line with more. Hi, Raymond. Now, tell us exactly what the minister has been saying about this issue.
So the indication is that even though on 24th of December 2015, they were issued with prospecting licenses under Section 34 of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 at 703 for a term of 2 years in respect of the areas mentioned, that is the mining directions or lease areas. There was no publication of this notice of the tendency of the application for the prospecting licenses in the Gazette as required by Section 13(2) and 3 of Act 703 and Regulation 77 of the Minerals and Mining Regulations Act. Indeed, in the absence of this publication, one cannot be said to have had a prospecting license in the first place. and moved on to say that in spite of the absence of this Gazette publication, a permit by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, for the prospecting license was purportedly granted to the company on the 7th of June 2016, following which the company proceeded to carry out prospecting activities on the land. He also said that the company, in accordance with the environmental assessment regulations, was required to submit 4 different assessments, and similarly was also required to submit 2 more assessments under the Minerals Act. All of these, most of them have not been submitted yet. It indicates that on 29th October 2016, the company made 3 applications for mining leases in respect of these areas, despite the fact that its prospecting licenses did not meet all the requirements detailed in this particular, what they call it, laws as provided. And as I said, but they still went ahead and issued on the 29th of December 2016 these mining leases, contrary to all of the stated laws that we've known up to this time.
All right, Raymond, so just a bit of clarity here. So they don't have a prospecting license, neither do they have a valid mining license.
It says that they have a prospecting license. What they have failed to do is go through the process and regularize that license to get a mining lease.
All right.
According to them, all of the things that have been done so far have been in breach of the various laws that grant the lease. So the lease in and of itself is not valid.
All right, but what led to this backtrack? Because the minister came out earlier to say that these licenses were valid, and in fact that Exton Cubic was not breaching the law in any way. Why the backtrack?
The minister does not consider this a backtrack. He says his earlier stance was because of what was presented to him by the Minerals Commission, but for a further check, they revealed that the procedures were not adequately followed. That is why, indeed, all of the 3 licenses, and the first reference was to only one particular area which was in contention, but they've checked and seen that all the 3 licenses have some breaches along the line, breaches that were not made known to the commission and also the ministry as of the time he spoke.
All right, Raymond, so what could this mean for Exton Cubic Group Limited going forward in terms of their equipment and what they can do?
So I asked the minister about what happens to the equipment. He says that they are being treated as confiscated properties for people engaged in an illegal activity, so will be subjected to the processes detailed in law on that particular one, i.e., they have to now subject it to the legal process of seeing through that a court pronounces it as illegal, then proceed to do confiscation, then maybe give it to a state institution if need be. But for now, the decision has not been taken yet because they have just taken the very first step, invalidating what was previously held to be a purported lease.
All right, Raymond, before you go, we know that some time ago the traditional chiefs of Ninehini were actually asking the government to allow Exton Cubic, prospect and the bauxite concession there. So has the minister been speaking to that particular issue? No, he made no reference to that particular point. He says the search was because there was massive, concern being raised about the activities of the people involved, and the ministry has to coordinate with all the agencies also under the environment to be able to conclude on this particular basis. And has Exton Cubic responded to this declaration by the minister? Exton Cubic was not at the press conference. Well, I have not heard their response, but I asked the minister whether they served a letter saying that their engagement breaches laws and that they do not have a proper license. The minister indicated clearly that this day, the day that they are issuing the press conference, is the day that they are actually forwarding the letter to them. So he is of the firm belief that they might have received it if they go through the motion. Thank you very much, Raymond Akwa there, who was at that particular press briefing this morning where the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, declared that the mining licenses of Exton Cubic Limited are invalid. Stay with us because you'll be updated on this in subsequent bulletins. Away from that, MTN Ghana Foundation has approved funding for construction of a 6-unit classroom block for Ishayasa District Assembly Basic School in the Ashanti region. The foundation has also offered to provide furniture as well as teaching and learning materials for the school located in the Asante North District. It follows a Joy News Agenda report in July, which highlighted the poor and life-threatening conditions of the school's existing structures. Ohiming Teria, whose report prompted MTN's intervention, returned to the community to gauge the mood of the people following the announcement.
The absence of a junior high school at Inshaeso compelled children to trek 32 kilometers or 20 miles daily to and from school at the nearest town, Ananikrom. The attendant risk on such quiet stretch have sometimes been devastating. At least 2 girls have been sexually assaulted in the last 2 years. Inshaeso DA Basic School has about 300 pupils, most of them from nearby settler farming communities like Jerusalem, Depot, Peltier, and Mamprusi. One of the most deprived in the Asante North District, the school, with only 3 decent classrooms, is home to noisy African fruit bars. Officials of MTN Ghana Foundation say they are touched by the ordeal children and teachers go through in such dilapidated structures. Senior Manager, Sustainability and Social Impact at MTN Ghana, Georgina Asarifiagbenu, broke the news.
We have very good news for the people of Inshaeso near Agogo. MTN Ghana, having heard the news about the deplorable state in which the basic school is, decided to make a presentation to the board for us to get some funding to put up a 6th classroom block for the people of Inshaeso. So yes, I'm happy to share this news with you that the board has given approval for us to invest into a 6th classroom block. In addition, we are also going to provide furniture for the school, and it will also come with teaching and learning material. So it's great news for the people of Inshaeso. Having heard about the state in which their classrooms are, the fact that it's not even fit for children to be educated under, the fact that they have to walk miles to be able to access JSS, and there's a high dropout rate, we understand, because the building is not safe for the children to attend school in. So it's good news, and we are very excited to undertake this project.
The project will also relieve children the burden of crowding over a few sets of furniture during class hours.
The story was quite unique, as it was told on your network. And having done a bit of investigation to find out where the location is, and like I also said, looking at the uniqueness of the story, how emotional it is, looking at the pictures and the footage that followed it, it was difficult for us to say no. The MTN Ghana Foundation is mainly focused in 3 areas: education, health, and economic empowerment. So this sits into the education portfolio of the MTN Ghana Foundation. And our aim is to provide access to education. Our aim is to be able to improve literacy. And then things that has to do with children is also very difficult for you to say no to.
Back at Inshaeso, teachers and students are excited at news of MTN Ghana Foundation's support. Vida Enima is a class 4 teacher.
We feel very happy because living in such situation was very bad. The last time you came there, you saw the structures. Some were broken and others were not constructed well. So hearing this news, it will be very happy for us to live in a full structure and learn for their future. During the raining days, the rain enters the classrooms, and we find it difficult to sit in the classroom to learn. We just move from the class to another class to wait until the rain stops.
The impact will be very great. We believe that this will help improve access to education in the village, and not just in the village, because we also understand that about 5 or 6 surrounding villages also use the same facility. So we believe that hundreds or more than 200 or 300 children are going to benefit from this project. So the impact is going to be very huge.
District Director of Education, Ernest Kojaferi, cannot hide his joy. He's full of gratitude to MTN and especially the multimedia group for bringing the plight of the people to public attention.
We are very much excited in hearing that at long last, with the support of MTN, the people of Inshiayeso and its settler farming communities are also going to have this full cycle of basic education by providing the needed classroom blocks. Of course, the 6-unit classroom block, furniture, and then the basic teaching learning materials. It's a big source of joy, not only to us at the district office only, but the entire Inshiayeso community, parents, guardians, and the peoples in general. We will not be complete in expressing our appreciation without acknowledging the support we have received from the multimedia group. MTN couldn't have known or heard of the plight of these innocent children. It has been made possible through the kind courtesy of the multimedia group.
From Inshiayeso in the Asante Achim North District for Joy News, I'm Interior reporting.
Let's stay a while on education, and if you wrote the BECE this year, or if your child or ward or friend did, this story will interest you. Now, 36,000 students who sat for this year's Basic Education Certificate examination, BECE, will not get placement to senior high school. Now, this number represents 8% of the total population of candidates. Deputy Education Minister in charge of secondary education, Dr. Yao Educhum, says these students did not do well and will have the opportunity to resit next year. Now, part of the 92% of those who passed have been placed, with some on the waiting list to go through the self-selection process, which ends on Tuesday. My colleague Matilda Wemega is on the line to give us more details as she attended that press briefing by the Ministry of Education and the Free Senior High School Secretariat. Hello, Matilda.
Hello, Benes.
So explain to us in detail. We've been hearing this self-selection process. What exactly is it?
So this self-selection process is an opportunity that the Free Senior High School Secretariat is giving to parents whose board did not get the for schools that they chose. So this process is just enable these BECE candidates go through the process, select the school of their choice. You know, some years ago, when you do not get any of the schools you applied to, or whether your grades did not meet the schools you chose, the placement system itself places you at school at their own convenience. But this time the ministry is saying that no, the process will be left in the hands of the parents to go through. So they are given a list of schools they are supposed to choose from. So that is the process. So actually, the deadline for this process was supposed to end on Saturday, but some extension was given, so it ends on Tuesday. But Benes, my interaction with the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Yao, has said that even though tomorrow marks the deadline for this self-assessment system, they would make provision for people who will not be able to complete the entire process, because he admits that at the moment, Benes, there are some technical hitches with the placement system. They are facing some technical hitch and all that. So they will make some provisions for people who are unable to go through the registration by today and then tomorrow. So there's...
Hello, Matilda. Hello, Matilda. Unfortunately, we lost her on the line there. She was just explaining what the self-placement process really is for students who were not placed into the 4 senior high schools they chose. They would have to do that themselves. I hear we have Matilda back on the line. Hello, Matilda.
Hello, Bennett.
Sorry, yes, we lost you there.
Exactly. And so, like I was saying, this provision has been made for parents who will not be able to meet the Tuesday deadline. So he's saying that they are going to give some more days for people who are going through this process. So parents shouldn't worry. There's plans for them because they admit that indeed there are some technical glitches when it comes
and Matilda, and this self-placement will be done via the internet and not the students or their parents or guardians walking to the schools personally?
No, parents do not have to walk into the schools. They are just supposed to sit by a computer that has internet access, and then they will go through the entire process themselves. And then there are available tools for them to make their process from BECE.
And Matilda, apart from that, what else has he been telling you?
So he talked about, you know, the entire thing is it's all gearing towards the free senior high school policy, which takes effect in 7 days. He's saying that indeed everything, they are going to ensure that everything is free, including PTA levies. You know, usually PTA levies come up during the course of the semester. And he's saying that even if the school decides to charge pupils for some levies, that the communication needs to come to the Ghana Education Service, and that would be approved. Even if it's approved, it won't be mandatory for students to pay that. So they are going to ensure that everything is free. At the moment, they've begun distributing free textbooks to all the schools. When it comes to the payment of fees, they said they have modality. They are going to ensure that the schools themselves liaise with people who are going to provide the free uniforms, and then government will come in then to pay. The schools themselves should also look for vendors, especially when it comes to day schools that are supposed to benefit from the free feeding too as well. So these provisions have all been made, and he has been assuring that indeed they would make sure that in 7 days the free senior high school policy has been talked about will be a reality benefit.
All right, Matilda, we are running out of time. Finally, what would parents or BECE candidates have to do, those who've not been placed yet? Do they have to buy a scratch card? Which sites do they visit to do the self-placement? I
do not have details on the entire procedure, but what I'm told is that they already have an idea of the entire selection process. Okay. A number of them are here at the ministries, and some are being taken through the entire process. So all right. We are hoping that you'll follow it, and then they would get some positive response.
Appreciate the details. Matilda Wemega there joining us from that press briefing at the Ministry of Education, focusing on the free senior high school policy. And my colleague Maxwell Agbagba has been speaking to some parents ahead of reopening of schools.
Parents would walk to the Central Business District to come here to come and shop for books and for, exercise book, textbooks, and all that they need for their wards, to go to school. So today we are here in the Central Business District, and we're here at a place where we have a chain of bookshops. We found lots of parents, shopping for their children. I have one of them here, one of the men here who is shopping here. I want to find out from him, what he has in here. I can see a lot of books here. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Dixon Apia. I'm from Tema. And I just come here early to buy the books, because if I don't come here early, there's a lot of people. So I try to come here early to find the books.
Okay. So how much do you have to spend on these books?
But now I spend almost about 280 Ghana cedis, but I didn't get a lot of some of the books. When I go up and down, they say that book is short. So I remain about 6 types of books which I couldn't find it. So unless I go and come back next time to come and find the book.
So at the end of the day, you're looking at spending how much on just textbooks?
Oh, I have the twins. So roughly now I spend almost about 400 on the books.
Okay, so let's put it out there that your child is not in SHS, so she's not benefiting from the free SHS. She's in junior high school.
Junior high school, and it's a private school, so it's a private school, every book I must to buy it by myself.
But let me pick your thoughts on free SHS. Now you're having to buy this textbook, spending like about 400 Ghana cedis, 200 cedis on textbooks alone. If your child gets to SHS, would you be excited because you don't have to pay for it?
Yeah, I'll be very, very happy and excited, because the government was supposed to help me on to buying other goods. So when my children reach SS, maybe I'll be some kind of reliefs that my money will go on a different way on the spending.
Okay. Let's speak to another parent who is here to also buy books. Okay, what do you do here? Okay, it's your shop. Great. Come closer and talk to us. We know for booksellers, for bookshops, this time around, it's like, I mean, it's the bumper season. This is your cocoa season. This is the harvest period for you.
It's booming.
It's booming, yes.
Booming.
A lot of schools are coming back from recess.
When the parents buy the books from the shop, from the schools, it costs even more rather than coming to the shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here, whether you are a parent or you buy and sell to your shop, we give you discount. Say discount that will be given to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So around this time,
it's wholesale price.
Okay.
That's the discount that will be given to them. And people come from the north. We sell to almost all the 10 regions.
Wow.
Yeah.
My colleague Mark Solagbaba speaking to some parents and traders of schoolworkers ahead of reopening of schools. But away from education, a victim of gang rape at Matayeko in Accra has launched a campaign to end the practice. Now, she's revealed rape is common in the area and usually not reported to the police. In the following report, she recounts the moment when her trusted male friend lured her into a room and got 4 other men to join in raping her. She says no other girl must suffer any such attack. Fred Smith reports.
That day was to be the most important day in her life, her birthday. But it was the day that changed her view of the world. She since changed her birthday in order to overcome the ordeal.
I met my friend and he said he has been looking for me to give me a birthday gift, but he can't reach me. And I said, okay, since I'm heading towards home and we live in the same wood, so we should go so that I take the gift. When I got there, 4 of his friends were already in the room. And he told me he's going to give me a birthday gift that I'll never forget in my life. So one of his friends slapped me, and I turned to look at the person who slapped because I didn't know what I did to receive that slap. So I turned only to see one of my closest friends was the one that slapped me. And my friend hits me at the back, and I fell on the chair. So when I fell in the chair, 2 of his friends held my hand, 2 of his friends held my leg, and it was my friend that started first, followed by one of his friends.
Started what?
With the rape, with forcibly having sex with me. And another one started. I saw the first 3, but the 2, I'm not sure if they did it, but they were all in the room. I saw the first 3, but the 2, I'm not sure because I was unconscious at the time.
She got pregnant through the gang rape and successfully delivered a baby girl 9 months later, 3 months before she turned 15. That baby was given out to a relative as a gift. Innocent-looking Miriam does not hide her pain. She tells me how she attempted to take her own life many times after the Kolebu police frustrated her in her attempt to seek justice.
I was taken to Kolebu, and Kolebu said they can't handle this case, so they should rush me to police hospital. They took me to police hospital.
Why did Kolebu say they could not?
Because the doctor's report that I was supposed to bring, the doctor at Kolebu said only a police doctor that can help me with.
It's because of the nature of the incident.
It's only a doctor who is also a police who can help me with this case. So I was rushed back to police hospital. They were the one that took care of me that night with my mother and my father. We got the police report. We brought it back to Kolebu. We were supposed to go and arrest them, but the police were not willing to support. I don't know why, because when I was on the sick bed, one of the rapists sent a message that there's no way they will be arrested. So, and that's...
Sent a message through which means mobile phone or...
No, not mobile phone.
Someone.
Like, he told somebody, and the person came to tell us I was at home that day, and that there's no way they will be arrested. And so that's, even though we filed, like, we've reported it to the police. Sometimes we'll go there with my father. They are at this place. We've seen them prove everything shows that they are there. But the police will be like, he's the only person here. He can't leave the cell. He can't leave the station.
More on this in subsequent bulletins. But do you know that spices do not only enhance the taste of your favorite meals, but also contain a good number of essential oils, antioxidants, minerals, and vitamins that are essential for your health? Well, they do, and that's why spices have been an important cooking ingredient for centuries. Joy News' MFA Nancy Dradosi visited the Nima market here in Accra to find out more about your favorite spices.
There's a general quote that the taste of your life depends on the spices that was used to brew it up. Same can be said for food, that the taste of your food depends on the kind of spices that you mix together to make it up. So we are here today at the Nima market. To be precise, we are the Hamdallah Enterprise. We are here to find out the health benefits of the spices to our lives. Sales attendant Naimatu Abdul Rahim takes us through some of the spices and tells us there are inexpensive ways to add flavor to food without extra fat, calories, sodium, and cholesterol.
This is cinnamon. Okay. We use it as spices in cooking. And it's also sayare or BP. And as also reduce fat. It's good for men. It makes them strong in bed.
So let's talk about this one. Which one is this?
This one is bay leaves. It gives flavor to food. Just spread it in the stew and that's all. This one is close. It has so many use. So obi ohonma like obi foka na so of fear. Wait me put in warm water for about 30 minutes before you go on your long journey.
Naimata tells me that sesame seeds are very essential as they cure night blindness.
Sesame seed, someone who is suffering from night blindness.
So with this one, is it that you just basically just add it to water and take oil?
We just chewing it like that.
Besides their medicinal benefits, some also provide spiritual help. You would want to look out for these black seeds as they give you protection from evil spirits.
If you do just grind it, now they are mixing honey. Akolako school na like now dream on that a buono a wadi suene it's also air palm evil spirits. Oh, me try the beer idea obi beto bi kra me timi se bi na.
Madame Etonam is a regular consumer of natural spices. She tells us the reason for her choice.
I bought star anise. They are all natural spices, which is very good. It doesn't give you any sickness like kidney problems, stomach cancer, or anything of that nature. Yeah, so I'm going to blend them and use for cooking. Yeah.
Naimatu Abdul Rahim had a piece of advice for consumers of foreign and artificial spices.
Local ones.
I will prescribe the local spices because the monosodium is just too much in the manufactured ones. If you usually buy food from outside, it is advisable to use natural spices to cook at home.
So make sure so when you see natural ones now the
I'm sure from today you'll be taking those spices with a lot more cooking, knowing very well that you need to do the right combinations and all that. Darryl, do you cook?
Sometimes.
What's your favorite spice?
Nkete. Does it have an English name? Because I really don't know.
I don't know. We'd have to find out.
I only know it to be Nkete, but that's also is good business. I mean, for people who deal in the spices. I mean, get people to patronize your business.
I'm sure hopefully we'll look at the business angle of that.
Sure, definitely.
All right.